it has a little bit of a lag. Okay, and we are live.
Call the November 26, 2024 Millwood Planning Commission meeting to order. First order of business is roll call. Commissioner Riggard, Commissioner Beasy,
Here.
Commissioner Molitor, here, Commissioner Wu, Chairman of the Commission Ankney is here. 3 out of 5 present. We do have a quorum. Next order of business would be approval of the meeting agenda. I will entertain a motion.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Excuse me. I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Nay. Ayes have it. Keep rolling right along. Item number 3, approval of the prior meeting minutes. I scanned them. They looked pretty good to me. Anybody have any edits or?
I had a couple.
Okay.
Little
Commissioner
things.
Beasy.
Under action items, first paragraph, action sections need to be checked to ensure references. Not
Yes,
sure what
on
I was thinking.
Page
This-
2, Bobby.
Page 1.
Or page 1, I was looking at the bottom.
Okay, never mind
Second.
that one.
Sorry.
I'm not sure what that was about. But, next page, number 8, Commissioner comments. I think it'd be useful to put, commented on the new turn pockets on Trent,
Oh, okay.
just to kind of.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Yeah, that's probably better. Okay.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, I'll fix that.
Commissioner Ball for anything?
I don't have anything.
Okay. So I would entertain a motion to approve the minutes with the edits.
I move we approve the motion, or the minutes as corrected.
Okay.
And I'll second that.
Okay. Any further comment? Without that, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay.
We're gonna be busy with
Ayes have it.
just the two of us.
So,
All right, that brings us to item number 4. I'm thinking that's probably you.
So we'll get this pulled up on the screen here. So, welcome to the new draft of the Parks and Recreation element. This has a format that I have to follow in order for it to be approved by the Washington State Recreation and Conservation Office as an approved planning document. And you need that in order to apply for grants through them. Everything that's highlighted in teal obviously references sections that are still being updated, or it's basically a placeholder for it. Because this is an incorporated element in the comprehensive plan, there's a lot of other sections that are going to be utilized, such as the mission goals, that whole section in 10.3 has everything for the goals and everything for Parks and Recreation in addition to the rest of the city components. And then your introduction, all those are in the other sections. Go ahead and go down. The first thing I start out with is RCO takes a look at some statewide components. Washington State adopted a what they call the SCORP. It's I believe it's called SCORP. Sorry, let me take that back. I'm not positive on the title, but they have certain factors that they look at for need in communities, and then you locally have to prove the need as well. And so I went through based on what the statewide priorities listed for Millwood, and Millwood actually isn't sitting too bad on the need category. In the household composition and disability, overall, we scored an 8, which is high. So that's actually great for when it comes to Parks and Recreation need. And then go ahead and go to the next one.
Can I ask you?
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah,
So my question is the definition of need in this category. Okay, need meaning we need it, so we have a lack of.
Oh, I see.
Or
Okay.
the need is not the need is not. priority.
Yes, so it's not lack of, it means based on the population and the demographic of the population, there is a social vulnerability need. And so whatever the category is, it's based on your demographics only. And then when we get a little further down, there's another map that shows, access and stuff, and that one's just a little bit different.
And is this ranked 1 to 10?
I believe they are ranked 1 to 10,
Okay,
yes.
and 1 being
Low,
low, okay.
10 being
Okay,
highest.
okay, I got that. Highest need or lowest need?
Right.
Highest need is 10,
Okay,
lowest need would be
okay.
1.
So if we in a perfect world and we didn't need anything, we would be scored 1s.
Yeah,
Perfect.
if we had
Okay.
all 25-year-olds and,
Yeah, got it,
Yeah.
perfect, got it.
I had that highlighted, wanted clarification on that too, because it was kind of confusing. I was like, Mike, is a 1 good or is a 1 not good? And
Yeah.
the need is much greater.
and this
So-
is actually really new. It was just done, I believe, in 2023 is what I had on there. This is only the second time that I've had to use it in a parks plan. And every community is different. So it's always interesting once you get in there and start diving in how we score. So.
Yeah, oh, wow, it's
Yeah.
pretty amazing, actually. I was confused as to what the 1 and the 10 were, so, okay, thank
Yeah.
you, thank you.
Yeah, the one thing that I didn't include in here that in the other plan that I just completed had was a land use index. For whatever reason, Millwood didn't have that in their ratios. And I was surprised, but it was a rural community I was dealing with before. So of course, they scored really high that they did not have land use diversity or close by access, those kinds of things. So that might be why Millwood didn't have that. But
Now, again, for clarification, you said they scored very high. That would mean,
like a 9 or a 10.
so that the need
It's bad.
is greater.
The need is great. yes.
Okay, all right.
So where did these numbers come from?
From the state. So it is, I should have underlined this, Washington Tracking Network's Information by Location IBL mapping tool. So it's the state that puts these together. And then I just have to go into Millwood.
Are they specifically delineated for Millwood? Or are they
For Millwood-
census tracts, or are they,
So you have multiples. Luckily, Millwood, we were able to delineate for the city.
okay,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah,
whole
you can
city.
get down to census tracts too, depending on the area, but I was able to clearly delineate for the city of
Okay.
Millwood boundary.
Great.
Thank you.
And so, good, next, perfect. Okay, so page 85, or page 84, sorry.
184?
Yeah, there we go. Okay, so the next one that was looked at was the socioeconomic determinants, and you scored fairly high there. It's number 7, and then different factors such as median household income put you a little bit higher, but education things factored in as well. And then there's a very low unemployment based on what the state says for Millwood. It's only 5%. And so that actually, adjusted the factor there too.
So coincidentally, we had 5% unemployment and we scored a 5 on the,
Or I'm sorry, not 5%, I read it wrong. We scored a 5, so employment's middle of the road.
right in the middle.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And then the next chart was health disparities. And again, that one ranked really high, it ranked up in the 8.
Strange.
Yeah, so for social determinants, the biggest one is you have a huge population apparently of 65 plus that live alone.
Yep.
So that right there, that's a 10. And then other factors like the population with a disability is a 7. So that's approaching towards the high. And then poor health outcomes why it's under economic determinants, I'm not sure, but it's all under health disparities. Poor health outcomes ranked a 9. So there, I don't know what causes it, but
Yeah.
So these are, I'm sorry, go ahead, Bobby.
Go ahead.
So these are just from the state?
from
Somebody has evaluated, in the state of Washington has evaluated?
it's in a big GIS database.
Millwood, okay,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
One would wonder where their numbers come from and
Yeah.
Yeah.
how seriously.
And
I
I'd
think
be
this-
happy to pull the full data sources. I didn't on it. I just did the summary. And what these are used for is when you go through and make a grant application, you can show here based on the statewide.
So they're not gonna matter because they're official numbers that the state has given us. So whether they're true or not, is irrelevant
It's their
as far
numbers.
as a grant
Yeah,
application is concerned. However, if we were going to try to remedy some of these things,
Mm-hmm.
we might want to delve a little deeper to see how much we could trust them.
well, and that's the other thing too, that you can use these when you're going through planning, so, you can also say, when the community says, I'm just throwing this out there, the community needs sidewalks, so that you can have better accessibility, you know, within the community and less driving. Well, you've got factors in here that support that as well, so that you could raise things up too, so.
So we don't know how many people, like, I'm looking at population 65 plus living alone, we score a 10,
The highest,
the highest,
yeah,
which is the worst.
yes.
But we don't know
How many?
how many.
No.
Oh, weird,
Yeah.
okay.
And I mean, I might be able to dig into the census to find out, but in the summary, I don't have it.
Okay.
And I'm sure that's like on a per capita thing, you know, if we've got 1,700 residents and maybe they're saying, okay, hey, you know, 100 of us
Yeah.
isn't that deal, so
Yeah.
that's,
Be nice to know what the number,
Right.
percentage was that
Exactly.
contributed to that.
And what it's compared to, is it compared to other communities, or is it, you know?
well,
I think it's just, they take whatever the number is, and it's just the map is color coded across the state.
But a rank number implies some kind of judgment's been made.
Yeah,
And that judgment's been made based on something.
yeah.
You know, whether it's based on what you could expect for a city this size, whether it's based on across the nation, you know, whatever. It somehow has. So if we get to doing anything really serious with these, we might want to.
Look into that. At the next meeting, when I do the survey results as well, I will tell you that, when you see the 65 plus, number corresponds perfectly with the survey and the demographics. We have a very high senior population.
Oh, yeah, that's,
okay.
no question about that.
Point of order, please, note that Commissioner Rickard has arrived.
So on, page 85, when you're done, Lisa. Next one. Looking,
So,
oh, sorry.
Let's bring Commissioner Rickard
Oh,
up to
yes.
speed real quick. Bill, we've gone through with the roll call, the approval of meeting agenda, approval of minutes. We're now into the staff presentation and she's talking about it. So if you look in your packet that you got, we are on circle number, page number squared 7. And it's got this map on it right here. It's up right there, by the way.
And what we're covering are statewide results, that the state prepares, and I've zoomed into Millwood. So we're midline under the, economic determinants. The one thing to highlight there was very high score on single-parent households. And then poor health outcomes also scored a 9. Very, the highest rank on cancer. Yes, unfortunately.
Yeah, but then it's got cardiac as a 1, which is really strange.
Yeah.
Just my unscientific people I know, it's 50-50.
Well, and premature too, so people, so it's interesting, there's a lot of seniors, but yet it gives premature deaths, so I don't know what that threshold is.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of questions.
Yeah.
And Bill, just for your clarification, the higher the number, the worse it is. So if you score a 10 on a 1 to 10, 10 is not good.
Oh, so we're not striving for that.
No.
Well, you are for this, it helps with, it may help with grants.
Yeah,
You
'cause
need.
that was kind of
need-
confusing at first, so.
Yes, next page. And so this one is directly from the RCO webpage. And it's basically kind of a summary of green space availability, the social vulnerability rank, and the poor health outcomes rank based on what we had before. So green space availability for Millwood is medium. You are, for the most part, within about a half mile of a green space, no matter where you're at. The one exception is the UR1 at the farthest end. That can be up to a mile away. And then social vulnerability index on this was overall a 4. Health outcomes, as we discussed, was overall a 9. So this kind of summarizes all of those up. All right. right, next section, like I said, goals and objectives, that'll be what we start working on in January after everybody does their homework and we figure out what's wrong with that table. And then we'll start doing, and that's the other thing I should specify. Yours has, goals, policies, and actions framework. I have to modify the table to say policy/objectives because RCO uses objectives. Very similar concept, policy and objective, but they utilize objectives. And so that's why it's worded goals and objectives here, and we'll make sure that it's corresponds with the table.
Aren't goals usually objectives? I mean, in normal English parlance.
Oh.
Goals and objectives are synonyms.
Yeah, goals in the planning world, you have your overall mission. This is what you want to achieve. Then you have your specific goals, and then you have your objectives, and that's how you're going to achieve the goals.
Okay,
Yeah.
weird.
And then the next goes into the inventory and conditions assessment. And this is where Bill, I already, or Commissioner Rickard, I talked to them when I first walked in. I had the opportunity to go around in the Kubota or the Gator with Kyle, and we went everywhere in the city and did a full inventory assessment so that we have a fantastic baseline here to work off of. And then I also looked at everything that adjoins the city. So everything that surrounds, and then the schools that the kids go to for Millwood. So, because a lot of people had talked about using the school facilities as well.
And a quick question on that.
Yes.
Paragraph, map 10-1, it says, Millwood has outdoor parks and recreation facilities owned and managed by the city of Millwood and the West Valley School District. So the letters A through K, I guess, back here will identify what West Valley owns and manages.
Yep. So when we get to the charts, so on the map, go ahead and hit the next one, Lisa.
There we go.
There we go. Ooh, that does not come out well on the screen. Look at your hard copy.
Do you want me to try and make it larger?
No, it's just the coloring on there doesn't come out well. So on the very, very bad colored map on the screen, within the city boundary, I used letter designations that'll correspond to the table a few pages in. Outside the city boundary, I just named them. And so that's how the table will work.
Okay.
Okay. And then the next page, which is a tiny bit easier to read, but not by much. This is the Spokane Regional Bike map for the Millwood area. This was prepared by SRTC, I believe in 2022 or 2023. So it has the full interurban trail on there that goes all the way through Millwood. And then it also shows where the closest trailheads are for the Centennial Trail, and then the other types of classes of like multi-use roadways and stuff for biking. For example, Vista Road running past the high school there is a class 3. It's the yellow.
It's hard to see.
It is hard to see, yeah.
I put it up on the screen.
Oh, there it
and
is.
blew it up
That's
a little
better.
bit.
Yeah.
That might help.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do you want to update this for things that have changed?
This was prepared by SRTC, so there's nothing for me to update on this map.
Okay.
But if there's something you see that's wrong, please let me know.
We lost one of our bicycle shops.
Oh! So the two Bs that are listed there, the one on Argon's still there, the one on Euclid is not, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Okay. I will notify SRTC of that. Euclid gone. Okay. All right, thank you. I didn't even catch that. I'm looking at the trails, I didn't look at the bicycle. And I may even, if they don't want to update it, I may take that off there. And then the next map is my analysis of walking and biking distances to the open space within Millwood. So the majority of Millwood, like I said, about 80 to 90% almost, has about a half-mile walking distance to parks, recreation, open space, and trails. Whereas the very furthest east end, UR1, is a half mile to a 1 mile, and I put biking distance, because anything over a half mile is not really considered walking distance, so I labeled it biking. Obviously, from where Magnolia Village is, it's sitting right on literally the half mile mark, so it could be walkable or bikeable. But to kind of consider the whole area, most of it's biking.
And you went by road?
I went by road, yes, not
So-
as the crow flies.
So you have to go down Empire, cross
And then go
Argonne
around.
twice,
Yes, and down and through.
and come back on the trail to get to the
And
park.
actually, the half mile mark, I believe, was Jean Batson Arboretum.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And yeah, you can do it that way.
Okay, now we're into the meat of the facilities. Part of the information that RCO wants to know is, do you charge fees for things, your cost recovery, those kinds of things? Well, obviously Millwood doesn't charge fees, does not do reservations, but you do a special event permit. And so I noted that in there. And then I also noted the summary of the walking distance from the previous map up top. So we kicked off the inventory with Millwood Park. Obviously, that's your biggest asset in the community. I went through and described it based on the size, the year it was originally constructed. And then as we get into each one of the amenities, Kyle and I did our best to estimate how old those were. And then I did a sub-map for each of the big facilities like this so that you could see, like, Millwood Park is A8 is the tennis courts as you go through the inventory. So the first one, the playground, A1, had varying years of equipment, approximately 85 to 2016. The biggest thing about that is overall is fair to good. The biggest issue is ADA access, obviously. The merry-go-round was removed due to poor condition, and Kyle said replacement was anticipated. I believe,
I'm
was it
sorry, say that
budgeted?
again.
What was
The last
that?
part?
The merry-go-round that was removed because it was in such poor condition, replacement is anticipated. And I think he said it was 2025 budget, but for this plan, I just put replacement anticipated.
They're fighting with the insurance.
Yeah, that's part of this too, is you have to look at things from an insurance standpoint. And then the pea gravel surfacing with the concrete edging basically makes it no ADA access to the playground. And so that would score highly on a grant application as long as you incorporate ADA improvements to a playground. The next was the wading pool. And circa 1954. And actually, what I found interesting on this, I checked with Kyle, everything I saw, including on the Millwood's website, I think called it out as a 24-foot diameter pool. It's actually 45-foot
Yeah.
inside diameter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, every reference I found had 24 foot.
Strange.
Yeah, so it's actually 45 foot with 14-inch depth in the center and then the 5-foot wide walkway around it, so 55 total. We put when it's open in there, that we have to have lifeguards on it due to the depth. And then what the capacity is. Kyle said there's occasional capacity issues in the summer, but it's not where people can't use it for the most part. And then fair condition, but the concrete surfacing is delaminated. Splash pads, circa 2005, approximately 30 feet by 44 feet. 2 fountains, 7 arch sprays. Again, occasional capacity issues in summer, but it receives more use than the wading pool, according to staff.
More ages.
Yeah.
Wading pool's like 5 and under.
Yeah, yeah. And fair condition. Yes.
What does capacity mean?
Oh, so part of what RCO requires is you have to denote how many people are using it versus how much it can accommodate. And so just an overall look based on staff's observations, people aren't having to stand off to the side and wait to use this. They can fit in there, but it has occasional capacity issues. Another way of looking at it, this isn't for you guys, but if you have ball fields that are programmed out, like one of the plans I just did had every hour that the ball fields were available programmed out and still more desire. Like literally they had to cap their teams because they had no available fields to use.
I apologize because I
Oh, no
drifted
problem.
off into thinking capacity of water.
Oh, yeah.
Holding how much water?
Yeah, no, holding people.
Users,
There you go.
kind of like ice time.
Yeah, exactly. All right, and then restrooms, no issues there. Parking, there is some capacity issues, mostly in summer, dealing when you have lacrosse and the wading pool and the splash pad all being used in August, is when we start having some of the parking flow out onto the side
I think
streets.
Farmers Market
Farmers
Days
market
also.
does, yeah.
Okay, you want to put farmer's market as well? Okay,
Yeah, especially when you have the
all right.
people, the vendors' vehicles as well. That contributes to the
Yeah, we've
problem.
got the normal park use and the vendors' vehicles plus anybody that's coming to the market that's not walking. So
Customers.
Customers, that's, I was trying to think of the word too. Vendors, customers, and park use. Okay, I will add that. Okay. All right, and then multi-use grass fields, fair irrigation system, Kyle said it's fine. It's not great, it's not poor, but it's just fair. And then it's utilized mostly for youth soccer practice and then lacrosse from summer to fall with the portable nets. Another issue that we talked about is lacrosse balls are getting hit out to the south and across the road. And so if the park is renovated, we need to do some kind of a blockade on the south there. So this is kind of how it all plays together. You have an inventory that says, okay, we got a problem. How are we going to fix it? And here's the why we need this.
Yeah, quick question. You and Kyle are the ones that came up with the conditions, whether it's good, fair, poor?
Yes.
So you too? Okay.
Yes, we don't have to use a certified playground inspector, although Millwood does have somebody come out and inspect annually through the insurance company, I believe it was. But you can just do a simple poor, fair, good rating system. Poor means it's like the merry-go-round. It's so bad you either got to take it out or not use it. Fair is it's middle of the road. Good is you got quite a bit of longevity on it.
And my next question would be then, do these ratings or these conditions then tie into our grant requests?
Yeah. So if something's scoring good, for example, the restroom scores good. So unless we can prove a need of why we would need to replace it or something like that, it wouldn't score high to get a new restroom.
Okay,
feels like that could be a
Thank you.
double-edged sword though, because if all of your things are scoring poor, it looks like, well, they don't maintain their
Yes.
things, why should we give them a grant?
You are right, and we get to the maintenance section too. So no, you are absolutely right. That's one of the things that comes up is especially, you guys are not a previously funded group, but if you have a park that was previously funded that's coming in all poor, RCO is gonna look and say, why are we gonna give you more money? You're not maintaining what we already gave you. So that is definitely something you gotta factor. Yeah,
And they're gonna look at age too.
yes, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, one would hope.
Yeah,
no.
and so if the condition is poor because of the age, but it has been maintained, then you're okay. Yeah, all these have some form of useful life to them. And then basketball courts, just the 2 mini courts, no capacity issues on that. One is poor, it needs resurfacing and crack sealing, and Kyle has it on the list.
So by the time we pass this, it might
Already be done, and then
be fair.
yeah, if
Or-
that's
or
the
good.
case, I go back through these at the end and we can make adjustments too. Yeah. And then tennis pickleball courts, I heard pickleball's huge out here. Fair to good on that. The only capacity issues is when pickleball is in use and there are some tennis players waiting. So that justification in the summer could mean you could have another court as part of a master plan. Gazebo picnic shelter, no problems there for either one of them. All the benches and stuff, those are maintained annually. If something's in poor condition, then it's on the list to get fixed. So most of it's paint or chips in
We've
the
got some
wood.
sway back
Yeah.
things that are.
Picnic tables, same thing, trash cans, barbecue pits, drinking fountains, trees, everything's pretty healthy out there on that. Maintenance shop, not that you can get an RCO grant for this, but it's part of the park, so I included it. And you have to consider on the maintenance and operations side, so if, for example, you had room to expand the park and make it like 10 acres or whatever, you would have issues with the maintenance shop because it can't accommodate any more fleet to maintain 10 acres. So those are things you have to factor into. And then the next one, the Spokane River property, we hiked all over this thing. So just over a half acre. Listed as city open space or habitat area, lots of habitat, demonstration in there. They must come up from the water when it's low and stuff. It's a flat to gentle slope for about 2/3 of the property towards the river, and then a steep slope for the last third adjoining the Spokane River with about a 30%. And Kyle actually went down as far as he could go, and so that we could judge about a 30% plus slope, with the last 10 feet being a drop. And we went in the fall, so the water was about as low as you can get. So.
However, keep in mind too, that the water is abnormally low because of, they've lowered the water to repair the dam.
Yes.
So that's not a normal water level, what you were looking at.
Yeah. So we just had to, I put dependent on water level. So I put about a 10-foot drop, but it's dependent on water level.
Right, I mean, you'll almost never have water at that level again.
That low, you mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
40 years I've been there, it's been 3 times.
yeah, three times
Okay.
in 40 years.
What would you say is the normal at the very, very tip where it drops off there? What would the normal be?
How low would you say it is compared to normal
I'm gonna say
summertime?
2.5 feet.
Okay.
They said they were gonna lower it by 2 feet, but
But they went
they
farther.
went a little bit further,
Yeah.
so
So should I do a 7 to 10 foot drop depending on water level?
Yeah.
Okay.
that would be, best.
All right.
Then I had another question on this.
Mm-hmm.
If we go to page 28 and talk about the next river
Yes.
property Millwood has,
Yeah.
under description comments, you have a list, whole long list of could possibly be improved for, and a list of things. Why don't we have that list on this one?
Because this is a wide open space, so it has potential conservation area. From what I've heard, that there wasn't the will to improve this. I can put that it's basically outside of that rear area, there's lots of opportunity there. I can word it as such. As far as safety wise, the best actual access point to the river was what we would call lift station number 3, or the Sargent Road Spokane River corridor. That is the only one that can really have improvement to be a safe access to the river.
I question that without some expert really looking at it, because you've got a lot of space to put in stairs, switchbacks, whatever. You've got half an acre.
But to do that, you'd rip out every bit of vegetation in there to wind it.
If you were going to do switchbacks, but that you could also do, a lot of those have metal staircases down that are very low impact. There are things you could.
Without ADA accessibility, yeah.
Yeah, there are a lot of things you can do, and I think we need to consider it. I think we need to say that could possibly be improved for.
So potential conservation area,
Before you write anything down,
Okay.
I've got a couple of comments
Okay.
on this, okay. So, Bobby, I think you and I were the only two on the commission at the time. Jay, I know you were here for public comment quite a bit.
Yes.
To say that this piece of property is controversial is putting it mildly. And so I would be very careful of putting any type of suggestion in the comment without consulting Mr. Worst.
Okay.
I mean, really, I mean, we could put something there as simple as you said, a staircase down there, and we would have that whole neighborhood here. You know it as well as I do.
Well, I know a lot of
And the lawsuits that could be potentially because of this property. And Lisa, you were here in Bucket during that time too, so I just would be careful.
a lot of the neighborhood has moved. That was here complaining, for one thing, new people. Well, and this is the other thing, we're not talking about developing this tomorrow, we're talking about, we have community surveys that indicate people think that the most important improvement should be river access. We have a half-acre piece of land. How can we not take a look at developing it? You know, how can it not be in our plan to look at it? That doesn't seem like it's rational.
Okay.
You know, it seems like it's reactive to something that we got ahead of ourselves a few years ago.
Right.
The neighborhood reacted. I mean, I think we have to look at it. I think it has to be.
No, those are good points, those are good points.
So,
And we had some great presentations from, remember the high school kids that came in and presented about different things to do with that? I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
I thought that there were some great ideas and thoughts, so.
And, you know, the actual public input on that was like 25% against and 75% for of people that submitted comments.
Right.
So, you know, we've got to look at it. We don't have to develop it tomorrow,
Yeah.
but we need to look at it, I think, at our plans. The other thing is, as new people move in, especially riverfront and so on, they should buy that property knowing that a park is a possibility down the road. This is knowledge they should have.
Realtors,
You know, and if it's-
realtors don't do that though.
Well,
They're
but
trying
if
to
it's
sell the
in our,
property.
if it's in our official documents, then they've got no real excuse for not knowing, because they could have looked at our documents and found it,
Okay, gotcha.
you know.
so potentially what I'll do on there, and obviously it's a wide open slate up top, so there's no sense listing everything it could be. But under potential conservation area, and or riverfront park neighborhood scale.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Potential conservation area and or riverfront park neighborhood scale.
I think canoe kayak put in should maybe be called out just as a possibility.
Or river
Something-
access,
Yeah, or,
Okay.
yeah,
potential river access.
physical
I think-
access, river access, yeah.
Okay, so.
Because you're
potential-
right, one of the biggest things that we get is more river access. So,
River access, okay, let me reread it. Potential conservation area, comma, riverfront park neighborhood scale, comma, and or river access.
Say, yeah,
Okay, all right,
I agree.
and then condition is natural.
current condition, yeah.
Yeah. And then the next was the Arboretum, not much to say there, other than, there's no ADA circulation through it. So the unfortunate thing is you can only look at it from the roadway. There's no pedestrian access. Millwood Interurban Trail, 1 mile, completed in 2019. Kyle said they do plow it year round, so you can do, walking on it the whole time. We went through and I designated all the different trailheads, the little sitting areas, all those things on there, where the markers are, and then took pictures. Also made a note, I believe there are 2 markers that don't have historical
Correct.
things on them yet. And then we just went through everything here. At the very west end, there's no ADA ramp at Vista there.
I have a question about that, because I went over there and looked at that. You can park in the West Valley parking lot. There's a sidewalk right there. Sidewalk leads right down to this trail. So what's,
At the end of the trail, there's no, so at the direct end, that's what the second picture is, with the bollard right
Next
there.
page.
It's a,
Yeah, the top.
you ended a curb. And so if you wanted to go
Gotta turn
north,
left a little bit to.
yeah, you gotta go left down to the parking lot and out. So there's no direct, crossing. So if the trail was to ever extend west, they would need some kind of an
Oh.
ADA crossing there.
Okay, I got,
Bicycle would be
got you on
catching
that
you
one.
as a guy.
Yeah.
And to the right, you have the pole, as you can see in the picture there.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if we should, under location,
Mm-hmm.
if the railroad tracks should be mentioned. It sort of implies that it's right off of Euclid and Empire, and it's got a railroad between.
So West End of Trail, on the main location itself, yes.
Yeah. Kind of like we're ignoring the tracks.
South side of Euclid Avenue, east of Empire from Vista to Trent, south of the railroad tracks. Railroad right away.
Yes.
Okay. There we go. All right, and to make that, since you probably won't be the only person to question on that ADA ramp, I'll just say, I actually had it, must exit, off sidewalk drive, I actually had a typo there. You didn't catch my typo,
Well, I did, I got it marked.
Oh, good. West end of trail at Vista Road does not have an ADA ramp at end of trail. Must exit off sidewalk driveway ramp to south. So off.
Yeah. One more
Okay.
F.
There we go. Okay. And then the center is actually what will come in with the new Argonne Road project. So right now, when we came off, we were going east to west. And when we did, we had to turn up, and there were two parts. One you shouldn't cross at, but you could, or one you should cross at. The shouldn't is the lower highlighted area, but you can. And the part you're supposed to is where the crosswalk is up at the intersection. When the new improvement is done on Argonne, it actually will cross a little bit further down, even slightly, than where the natural crossing is, the lower highlighted line there. And there'll be the center divider island, or what they call the respite stop. So as you're crossing across, you can stop in the middle and then proceed across.
I would not recommend stopping in the middle though, because there's no way to re-trigger the light to get across the last half.
Oh, okay.
You could be stranded
Yeah.
for a long time.
Well, doesn't the timing of that light give you enough time to get it through there? I mean, I don't. Some
It's
of them-
pedestrian actuated, so there isn't a button in the middle to restart it?
Correct.
Okay.
So it's
Okay.
not, you better not pause there. You better just
Okay.
keep trucking.
And even the current timing, you have to
Yeah,
start
okay.
pretty lively to get across.
Yeah,
I'm
you
not
do.
aware of that.
Oh, now, yes.
It's
But I'm
hard.
saying if they have a light, when you hit the button and the
Then
lights
it'll
come on and
give
traffic
everything
has to
attention.
stop, it would just be set.
Well, that's what it
for
is
enough-
now.
enough
It's just
times.
in a different place. It's set for a certain amount of time, but for a population that we just
Yeah.
discussed is mostly elderly, it's not long enough.
Okay.
Yeah. That's actually, that was an episode of Grace and Frankie
I
where
know, I love that.
she goes really slow to show that it's not long enough.
Love that.
So I will double check with Kyle and the engineers, and if it's true, I will make note, no center island button for the pedestrian what do we call that? Pedestrian actuated.
Yes, last time I asked, there was not one there.
Okay, I
But
will double check
maybe
on
they've
that.
added one. That would be wonderful.
Yeah, this is the time to do it. That's the kind of stuff to point out if they can add a button.
Yeah, I haven't been through that in a while, so when I was running, it wasn't a problem.
Well, yes, when you're running, it's not a problem.
Right.
And then the East Center, the one thing I called out there that it can be an issue is no ADA access to the restrooms from there. Okay, going down. Ender Trail connects to Trent Avenue I actually was just informed that is not a driveway, that is a frontage road.
Oh, yes.
That sounds right.
Yeah, Kyle and I were calling it a driveway. So I'm gonna make that correction. Alright. And I actually got pretty lucky when we were doing the pictures. I had students from high school walking through. I had people walking their dogs. So we got some action shots.
That's not just luck.
Yeah.
People do use it.
It is, yeah, it's a well-used trail. And then I called the next one the Millwood Trail Extension. It's the connection up as you're going up Argonne on the east side. That is the new planned shared use path to connect up to the bridge.
Yeah,
Say that again.
So E is the Millwood Trail
Right.
Extension,
Right.
done in 2025. That's the new 10-foot separated shared use path that's going to be along the east side of Argonne in front of IEP, from the north side of Empire. And I know about the whole
Oh,
railroad.
okay.
We couldn't get something
Summer
right there.
completion, okay.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
and up to the Argonne Bridge.
I missed that, okay.
right, so it does not connect to the other trail, really.
No, there's the railroad gap.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they could do about it. I talked with them. So they have the railroad gap, but then at the end it connects up to the Argonne Bridge, even though it's
Yeah.
kind of narrow, but.
Last I knew, you couldn't even get across, they were pulling out the crosswalk that went across Empire. So you couldn't even get to the new trail we're putting in on, or bike lane we're putting in on Empire. So.
Yeah, I only noted it from from Empire Avenue to the Spokane
We
Bridge.
could call that our business bypass trail.
Business bypass.
Very funny, Bob.
Yeah, and there's the map that corresponds, so we all knew exactly where it was. And then the Argonne Road was another one that was talked about for river access, so I stopped and we looked at that one. Definitely no river access there.
View access.
View access, yes, and that's what I noted.
So I think I would put in the word physical.
Okay.
It has determined that there is no
Physical?
physical Spokane River access at the east side, because you can see it beautifully.
Yeah.
Okay. And then view corridor only as you cross the bridge. Okay. And then historic Dalton median in good condition. The no root issues. I know you're working with an arborist right now to thin the canopies for tree health and everything. So overall, that's in good shape.
Also, it was planted in the 20s, not the 40s.
Oh, okay. I based it on when the plats were done. So it was done
The plats were done, the plats were done in what, 1912, 1910?
over there.
Yeah.
So 1920s is the era?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got a picture 1928 when they were putting in sidewalks, and there's these little tiny trees. And
Wow.
1920s.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then kindergarten center. This is where it starts calling out West Valley School District. I don't do as much detail when it's not something the city maintains. So these are a little bit simpler. But again, I use the map to denote all the different areas at the kindergarten center. Overall, everything seems to be in pretty good shape there as far as condition wise. Went through and counted all. They got plenty of parking over there.
they work with the city to do that.
Yes.
That was
Yeah.
a big deal because, and it isn't plenty of parking. If you've got a baseball game and a couple soccer games going on. Or
Oh, if it's being all used at once, yeah.
and even just 2 soccer games, you've got the varsity and the junior varsity. It's challenging.
Yeah, it'd be pretty busy.
You're
Yeah.
still parking down.
And then same thing with the high school, went through and labeled them out on here on what we have. The one thing I could not find was specifically what field events they have. So I just listed out that it was track and field and football.
Okay,
Track area.
yeah, I had a question on that too. You called out Jack Springs Stadium by name,
Yes, because that's what's on the sign there.
but you did not put down Ward Mauer Field
On which
for
one?
the football one. There's
Oh,
a sign for that too.
There was? Oh, I missed that.
It's a
Okay.
little smaller and not quite as big
So,
a face, but it's.
football, and I had Jack Springs Stadium on description, okay.
Yep.
So Ward, W-A-R-D, M-A-U-E-R,
I think it's Maurer.
M-A-U-R-E-R,
I think you're right, yeah.
Yeah.
football field,
Yep.
okay. All right. Perfect.
And then the tennis courts,
Mm-hmm.
I have not been there in the last 2 years, but 2 years ago, 2 of them were painted for pickleball.
Yes,
Really? Kyle and I looked at those.
Did you look at all of them?
I made a note of that too.
We couldn't go on the campus, so we looked for the sides. So there are 2 that you believe are painted for pickleball?
Painted, yes.
Okay.
You have to bring your own nets, but they're painted for
Okay.
pickleball.
2 painted for pickleball. Must bring net.
I think most of the pickleball players
And then
know
no
that,
lights.
that some of them still use the tennis net. That's
Yeah.
not- Yeah,
But, I mean, if you're just there to knock the ball around,
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
enough.
right.
Which is, that's the same on our tennis
Yeah.
courts. Okay, I won't even put a note about the net then.
Yeah.
So 2 painted for pickleball and then no lights. Okay, thank you.
And then, if you're counting things,
Mm-hmm.
you seem to be doing, I'd put in 3 gyms.
Oh, okay. And I don't do too much with the indoor because you can't get the grant facilities, but I will put 3.
Yeah.
Okay. That looks a nice looking gym too, to have the upper track and everything.
Now, since West Valley High School is not in the city,
It's
A lot of these things are.
It's
not
half
the
and
same.
half, yeah. So this one I counted within the city, but that's why gym is just literally the pictures. Because we wouldn't be using this for grant, because you can't get the indoor facility grants through RCO.
The football field is not in the city either.
Was that the other one that's on the outside? Okay.
The-
I had
the
to make
baseball
a,
field is in the city.
yes, I had to make a call on whether to include it or not, and so I went ahead and included it in the city instead of staggering it between inside and outside.
I didn't know that that's the dividing line was the baseball field was Millwoods and the football field
Yeah.
Yeah, where the
And
line
where
is.
it actually
West was-
notches.
west was.
I didn't know that. I didn't.
Yeah.
No, okay.
What was that?
The water bill. I knew that because of the water bill.
Oh,
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, and then here's page 28 that Bobby had referenced. So in our hikes along the river there, the sewer lift station number 3, Sergeant Road, Spokane River corridor. So all of these, the right-of-way runs straight into the river. So it's all city right-of-way / public utility easement. Well, not even easement, because it's city right-of-way, public utility land, we'll say. This one here is approximately 4,600 square feet in area, about 41 foot wide, does have, and again, we went in the fall, but beach exposed late July till winter is what Kyle had estimated when the beach was exposed there. It's about a 5-foot rise in river to the second cinder block. So if you're saying that the normal level is about 2.5 feet lower, so it's gonna be about 2-foot rise. So I will adjust that about 2 to 5 foot rise.
Yeah, I think calling that a beach is pretty generous in normal times.
yeah.
It's almost stick your foot in the water while you
Yeah.
stand on that ledge.
So 2 to 5 foot rise in river to second cinder block up from beach. And beach was about the only word I could think of for it, but
You could use bank.
bank.
Well, bank is kind of implies the top.
That it's,
Oh,
yeah,
that's true.
Yeah, this
Okay.
is the,
it is beach.
It's-
It's just
it's
not
almost-
always exposed.
almost a shelf, but
Yeah. And we can even put
you
that,
can call it beach. I'll go with it.
yeah, beach not always visible. How about that?
Yeah, or not
Okay.
always exposed or,
Exposed, yeah, there we
Yeah.
go.
yeah.
Based on water level. Okay, and this is currently posted, use at your own risk. This is the only site that is posted that way. And then I listed could possibly be improved because I went through and was talking with Kyle and he said, yeah, we could fence this off. So it is an opportunity here. Right now it's listed as poor condition due to the access issues. Right now there's absolutely no ADA and very difficult standard access to it.
Well, this we desperately need canoe kayak put in somewhere.
That's what,
But short of that,
yeah.
we could put a bench on that grass and have view access that would be very nice
Yeah.
for somebody to come sit and eat their lunch.
Yeah. Of all the sites that I looked at, that one is the most promising in a near term. I'll tell you
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
Sewer lift station number 2, Spokane River Corridor, and as you can see, I didn't name it. There's nothing. It's basically a person's side yard for all intents and purposes.
Which is a problem we should at some point address, because we shouldn't be gifting riverfront land to adjacent homeowners. But,
Yeah, and it's only 20 feet wide, that one is, so it's narrow and long, and 20 feet might even be, a little more. I measured it from the scout map. I measured it at a few different locations. It says 20 feet, but when you look in that picture, it sure doesn't look like 20 feet.
Well, it's because of the encroachment.
It's encroached so much, yeah.
But, I wouldn't totally rule out, again, like a little bench or something, or a little post that indicates this is as far as you go, but here's the river, maybe an information post or something.
I'll say not currently suitable for river access, and adjoining property, has adjoining property encroachment.
I haven't been down there in a while. Does Millwood need to post something there so that there's no confusion about whether you got 2 private properties on each side, that's Millwood's?
Yeah, oh, you mean to label it as being Millwoods?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah,
I think it should.
it should have some kind of posting. You can tell from the map, it is right of way that runs straight in.
Right.
But that is the most confusing one because the adjoining property has to split the road as a driveway access too. So that one is a tough one.
That one's just strange,
Yeah.
but yeah, it would not hurt to have a little post there, maybe even something informative about the Spokane River as you can stand there and see it, and it would kind of delineate, okay, we don't want you walking past here, but this is ours and it's for you to stand and look down.
Oh, I thought you meant like a do not enter kind of a thing, like the other one.
Oh,
Oh,
No. Oh.
you could say City of Millwood, but basically the sign would keep you kind of almost from
Yeah.
entering.
Yeah.
Thinking of it from the homeowner's point of view, because I've talked to him, kids and people go down there they go down there to look at the river and they make a hell of a mess. He's cleaning up papers and cans and bottles and things like that. So, it's kind of a fine line there of what we want to do, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I
don't
can
wanna
add the same-
certainly discourage people going
Right.
there, but it is a place you can stand and look at the
Yes.
river.
Right,
And we need to, and we're a river community.
Right.
So we,
identify it, but yeah.
yeah, so that's something that should maybe be kind of looked at by the city.
So is his tool shed on city property?
If you look at the map,
Yeah, I think.
We
we-
determined
yeah,
that when
the
we
scout isn't
toured.
always perfect. You'd want to survey it, but it looks like it's right down the middle. It could be at the edge of it where it's sitting right on
I
it.
think
but-
his wall was, I think he's like 0 frontage or
Zero
zero
lot line?
Yeah,
lot line, so,
it's tight.
Yeah. I just remember, we toured that probably, 7 years ago? 8 years ago, we went on that
Yeah,
walking
right.
meeting, and that guy came out and he was running us off. We had to inform him, no, this is city property. Yeah,
yeah, this was, the planning commission was there looking at it. He
Yeah.
was-
cool.
And then the last one was sewer lift station number 1. And this one's almost comical because the equipment was put right across the thing.
How crazy is that? We didn't need to do that.
So literally not suitable for river access, and adjoining property's dock extends into river frontage if you look at the map. But literally by just sheer utility placement, you can't use it for access.
Yeah.
My guess is that was put in when this was the original lift station next to it. And so who knows, but
Yeah. That-
so yeah, that one is poor access issues with electrical for utilities blocking. Okay. Oh, we're almost through here, guys. Millwood operations and maintenance. I just got the staff quantity, what the current budget is, how things are programmed out for leaf removal, all those kinds of things. And then the next part goes into just the surrounding area facilities, which I'll skip over that unless you guys had any questions. But
I do.
oh, you do? Okay.
But first, the operation and maintenance, don't we normally have a summer worker for the park?
Sometimes.
Yes.
I've seen it advertised the last 2 years.
We have, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know that we will this year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we do always have the lifeguards that
Yes.
are in the budget
Right.
as well. So I
Kyle
don't
said
know if
it's
that's
4
included.
year-round plus the lifeguards.
Okay.
And so that's the
Well,
additionally.
we ended up kind of hiring somebody extra full-time,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
We did.
So we no longer need them. Okay, that makes sense.
Yep.
And then, that's worded a little strange, the existing wading pool, due to the level of water retention. It sounds like a medical condition.
Oh,
The level of water in the
due
wading
to
pool?
the water depth?
Yes,
Okay.
that's much, that'll lead people the right direction. I think.
Water
Oh, yeah.
depth. All right, so now I gotta read the whole thing.
Due to, what? Yeah,
Additionally, the existing wading pool at Millwood Park requires seasonal lifeguards due to the water depth, comma, with a 2025
Yep.
preliminary budget amount of 20,600.
that's good. Okay, then I had a question.
I think that should read, due to the water depth, the existing wading pool in Millwood
Oh,
Park.
that's fine.
Seasonal
I like
lifeguards.
that.
Additionally, due
Yeah,
Good call.
to the water depth, comma, the existing wading pool requires seasonal lifeguards, cross that out. And no comma there, seasonal lifeguards with the 2025 preliminary budget.
okay, then on this next table,
Mm-hmm.
distance from Millwood, what were
Yes.
you measuring from?
Walking or biking.
From what point?
Oh, from the city,
City Hall or from the
From the
closest
center.
point?
from the, so I took, when you go on, like the Centennial Trail website, you can calculate out the distances and stuff. I put from Millwood, which had it at City Hall.
Okay, because you come up with
Center, basically right at the center.
some kind of strange,
And that's why it's approximate, because obviously it's gonna be longer for somebody that's over by North 40.
well, yeah, you're talking, like Orchard Center Elementary is 0.38 miles from the edge of Millwood.
Yeah.
Actually, I have it as less than a mile from here. And you have 1.2 miles.
Well, it was, however it was calculated out on the map thing. I didn't calculate as I drove, I calculated it based on MapQuest.
Okay, well, they're kind of mixed up. I think it needs to say from Millwood City Hall, if that's what you're measuring
Okay.
from. Because like I say, you're less than half a mile away and this is saying you're 1.2 miles, so that's quite a distance for,
And it was actually from the center of Millwood. It happens to be right next to City Hall, but when it took it, it plopped a
no,
thing right next to it. Yeah. Distances measured.
so, I came up with some very different numbers.
That's the problem, I think, with using Google Maps or MapQuest or whatever you want.
I had to go based on a pathway too, so
Well,
you're walking and it's this distance versus you're driving, it's this distance.
rule of thumb, when they surveyed this area for homesteading originally, Argonne and Park are 1 mile apart. Vista's at the half-mile level. Argonne to University is 1 mile. Pines is 1 mile beyond that. So if you're looking at 1.2 miles and it's less than from Argonne to Park, you know there's something off on
That's
the
a good
numbers.
point, because that's exactly what it is.
So which,
And then
Sections of
down-
land.
And then down to Fancher is another
Another mile. Yeah,
So which ones, Bobby, did you say I needed to adjust?
well, the Orchard Center
Orchard
Elementary
Center,
and,
Orchard Center Elementary, approximately 1.2 miles. And what did you say it was?
I've got slightly less than a mile, so you could average it to a mile.
How about a mile?
Yeah, and that's going down onto the trail and getting there. That's
Okay,
not crow flies.
Mhm.
The other one is Boulder Beach and Camp Sakani.
Boulder Beach, yes.
Boulder Beach is actually closer than Camp Sakani, and you've got it farther. Or Camp Sakani is closer. Camp Sakani is closer than Boulder Beach. If you go out Upriver Drive, you come to Camp Sakani first, and then you get to Boulder Beach.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
It's
I-
vice versa.
The address that I came up with was 5700 East Upriver for Boulder Beach. And Camp Sakani was, you've got as 6700, which would put Camp Sakani closer.
If you
That's what
drove,
the addresses are.
okay, if you drive out upriver though, the first one you come to on your left
Is
would be
Boulder
Boulder
Beach.
Beach.
Right, but Sakani's on your, you start coming
your right,
across
but-
Sakani on your right before you get to Boulder Beach.
Well, there would be a few trails, but the main Camp Sakani is, I'm gonna say quarter of a mile past Boulder Beach. There's some trails at Camp Sakani
I mean,
bike
it goes up.
and a disc golf thing, but
On the
yeah,
map I have.
I think it's, I'm thinking of the main, parking lot, parking area from Camp Sakani is
We
probably,
might want to look at that anyway.
Okay. So Boulder Beach, approximately 2 miles, so you're okay with that?
I didn't
Okay.
measure that, it just,
And
I
then
always
Camp
see Camp
Sakani.
Sakani
Yeah.
before I see Boulder Beach when I'm
Yeah.
driving there.
okay,
And then I looked up the addresses and they
Oh.
had them,
that's weird. Yeah, okay. No, I
And what
think
did you have
part-
for the address of Camp Sakani?
you have,
6722.
right, so I went with that.
Okay.
But the newspaper had, which I know isn't always perfect, but had Boulder Beach at 5700.
5700?
They're not an absolute authority.
Yeah, where did
But it indicates maybe we should look at it.
Oh, and I used the Spokane County actual website on that one.
So
Okay.
anyway,
Good point.
Okay.
and then, there are, the other one was Seth Woodard. Let's see.
No.
like
And
it's
what's
really
Seth
closer.
Woodard?
Seth Woodard Elementary. I didn't actually measure it, but it should be a lot closer. If you go to the closest part of Millwood, it's, I think, less than half a mile.
Yeah, but if
Yeah,
it's
it's
off-
off
It's
of
on the other
Park.
side of the
It's off
freeway.
Park,
Yeah.
Woodard's Park and Mission.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, on the other side.
So
of
you,
the
Argonne to Park is a mile.
right.
no, yes, Argonne Park is a
And
mile.
then you have to go south.
But it's a
Trent,
half a mile to Vista. So like I said, the closest point in Millwood, which is Vista and Trent.
She's going from.
I'm
City
going
Hall.
from Central.
Yes,
Yeah,
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 I know.
yeah.
But
So do I need to double check Seth Woodard or?
I think from the center of Millwood, I think that's probably about right. 'Cause
Okay.
Argonne to Park is a mile and then goes south.
Okay, so.
I mean, I can look at some of these actually, measuring them on Scout. I trust Scout more than I would their.
Well, and that's what I did. I checked the Google Maps, basically with drawing the path. I checked Scout. I tried to make sure I had a couple different
Scout's pretty good.
options, yeah.
I'm gonna
Okay,
use Scout.
and then
Yeah, it's,
go down.
okay,
Millwood activities, is that the next
Yes.
section? Okay, so I listed everything I could find, but then at the end I put a bunch of question marks, because I know there's gotta be more that I don't know about.
yeah, I've got a couple for that.
Okay,
And then,
give them to me.
well, before we get there.
Oh,
The West Valley School Athletics.
mm-hmm,
I think I'd put boys football and baseball, and then put girls softball and volleyball, and then put boys and girls soccer, wrestling, because you left out boys soccer for one thing.
I took it directly off their website.
Well, there's boys soccer, I know, my grandson was playing in it.
Boys football, girls soccer, boys baseball, boys and girls wrestling. Okay,
We don't have to repeat
So-
their mistakes.
So they're just missing boys.
yeah, so I just
Yeah.
add the slash,
So-
girls/boys soccer.
Right,
Okay.
so that might as well be put underneath boys/girls.
So you want it labeled boys first and then the girls' sports, is that?
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
either way, but I'd group together, boys only, girls only, boys/girls. Just say girls wrestling?
Do we need to be gender specific in this day and age?
Not here in Hawaii, they have girls wrestling.
Well, they,
Amanda?
I don't know if they have it at the school
I did it
level.
because that's how they do it,
Okay.
yeah. I thought the same thing, like,
For Title IX, you do.
that's the other thing I figured
Yes.
is why they call it out. I know there's the whole who plays what, but they call them out based on for Title IX, I believe.
Yeah, I don't care because they're not within our city limits, we're not responsible.
So organized by
for it.
boys,
So it would be
girls,
appropriate.
and then the combo where they have them both.
Yeah, or just
Okay.
call out the sports, either way. I don't,
Okay,
I could go either way with it.
okay. Next.
I think under Millwood Impact, I put, Millwood Community Meals. Kind of gives a little better picture of what it actually
Oh,
is.
community meals,
Yeah,
okay.
it's for the community to get together to come, just anybody come. And I'd put, under age group, I'd put all ages.
Oh, okay. I did youth and families because that's how they called it out, but I'll do all ages.
Yeah, there's a lot of single, older adults that come to
Okay.
those meals.
All right.
And then farmers market, I think I'd call out that there's music and various themed activities.
So farmers market, music, themed activities.
Yeah.
Okay. Et cetera. All right.
And then additional things.
Yeah.
Masonic Lodge Friday at the Lodge, they were calling it last
So
year.
activity Friday at the lodge.
I think that they're kind of working on the name still, but last year, every Friday, they had some kind of activity at the lodge for the general public.
And provider is Masonic Lodge.
Yep, and they invited everybody to come and they had karaoke one night and they had how to make bonsais another night and
All ages.
dancing. Yeah, all ages,
And-
sometimes it's one over the other. And
Year round or?
no, just,
That's gotta be Millwood's best kept secret.
Yeah.
we're trying to get the word out.
I haven't either.
So this year, they backed off of it. They're not doing quite as much, but they're gonna do at least one a month.
Okay.
They had their first Lyceum lecture on community health and
So community education.
Are they doing that kind of as a part of the, what's Bottles do, a first Friday? They do it first Fridays?
They used to do a Thursday, but they're not doing that anymore. No, they're doing it as trying to get the lodge used more by the community. Which I think they're hoping will open them up to some grants that might otherwise be. But then they also, part of their mission is to help the community. And
For the
so-
description, do you want me to put community activities and education?
Yes, and it's all ages, because sometimes, like they had Radical Rick, the science guy.
Oh, yeah.
came last year. And, I mean, they've had some really cool things there. It's,
So activities, demonstrations, and education?
okay, that'd work.
Okay.
Um,
He came to my kids' schools.
Yes. And then it might be worth mentioning, every month, Millwood History Enthusiasts displays historical Millwood pictures at the Argonne Library.
Okay, so monthly.
That's happened 5-6 years now at least.
Monthly up at the library?
No, it's 1 month. Usually it's March.
Oh.
March is Millwood
And it's,
History Month.
is it called Argonne Library, is that correct? Okay.
It's not monthly, it's 1 month a year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right,
yearly.
Yeah, yearly.
yearly for 1 month.
For a month. Okay.
Most times it's been March, Millwood History Month.
Okay.
So an
So it's an annual
activity
event.
is,
I guess I'm not
History
not aware of that one
History
either,
display.
Bobby.
Reading this, people talked about, they thought we should have more activities. But you look at the activities, we have a lot. I think part of our problem is getting the word out.
well, and that's why I left a
These
whole lot of
activities.
open slots, because there's always more that you don't know. So, activities, history display, description display of historical photos.
Yep. And every so often we have tours, walking tours.
Okay. So
But they're-
Millwood historical walking tours.
Yeah, their trouble is they are provided by different places. The library did the last one. STA did the one before that. We've had the Millwood history enthusiasts have done them. And then I don't know if you want to put movies. We usually have at least one movie in the
Yes. Thought I had that. Did I not put movies? I even
summer. You
had
had
a
movies
picture.
under the high school, but not under Millwood.
Oh, that was my bad, because I even had a picture of Daniel and his family at one of them. Wow, I sure did, I forgot that. All right. Yes, I'll add that. So historical walking tours of Millwood, provider varies,
Mm-hmm. That's good.
all ages,
Yep.
and time frame / location.
Oh, usually downtown Millwood, Millwood Business
And
District.
when do they do it?
Movies? The walking tours are
Yeah, is it summer?
spring, summer, fall.
Okay.
When the weather's decent.
Okay. And then Arbor Library. Right, spring to fall. And downtown Millwood.
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
The other thing, Winterfest tree lighting,
Yes.
under provider, IEP provides everything that
Oh.
they have free hot chocolate and cookies and the entertainment. So they should get credit.
So Millwood Community Association and Inland Empire Paper.
Yep.
All right, got it. Next. I got 3 slots left. Do you have more?
They may come up.
Okay. I'll leave them highlighted for now. If anybody knows of any additional activities, please email them to me and I'll add them to the chart too. So, okay. And then public involvement, basically just a survey, a summary of what we're striving to get completed here. A little blurb about the survey and referencing how it's going to be sections throughout the plan again. And then now you get a sneak peek of what everybody else gets to
Before
see
we-
on December 10th.
Before we move on that one, we're looking for more public involvement. And there was a young lady that was here at the last meeting.
I got her on my email list.
Okay.
Yep.
But I'm wondering, how do we get that? Lisa and I talked about it afterwards. More and more people are going to non-written notifications.
Mm-hmm.
So they're not getting the mailing.
How did she end up finding out? Was it
So-
social media or was it, she came here and I'm trying to remember
Probably
how.
Todd would be my guess.
I think it was word of mouth.
Word of mouth,
So
okay.
My question would be, is there some way to identify all the residents in Millwood that are no longer receiving their paper bills, they're receiving electronically, that we could either include the monthly newsletter
They're all paper,
with them or have a separate mailing email list that we could send it out? I mean, if we're really interested in public involvement.
okay.
We have very few that are paperless. They have to call and ask us specifically to make them paperless. They may be paying on Express Bill Pay and getting their emails through Express Bill Pay, but they still could also be getting a paper bill. And what happens is they just
Okay.
They don't even look at it.
I,
But there are a few people, you can call and request paperless billing,
Right.
and we won't send you a bill, but we do not have very many people that do that.
okay, I got the feeling that there were,
I
she
think there are a
said
lot.
that she had some friends that didn't get it either, and I thought, well,
And they
don't
may
know how
not,
many there are, so if it's not a big deal, then.
well, they may not, they
we
may
won't
not
worry
be
about
getting it, or they may not be reading it if they do get it, because they only depend on their emails that they get.
Right.
So most of the items, if they were to get a paper statement from the city, it just, they
Okay.
already have it, so they
I
don't
don't
read
need
it.
that statement, not thinking that there's a
But
newsletter.
if they
on-
are people who
Yeah.
are familiar with that, then they are very savvy of websites. And her periodic page has absolutely everything that is in this meeting every single time. It is all there. The packets are all there. Everything is online. They can find, all this information is there.
Right,
They can find it all there. And if they're website savvy, they know how to find it.
right, okay.
The other problem with people not getting the water bill and getting that newsletter is that if they're renting, it goes to the owners, not to the renters. So anybody that's renting does not get one.
Some do. Some, it's about a 50-50 on that.
Okay.
The owner can decide to have a duplicate bill sent. And also sometimes the owner requests that it still go to the property address, but in the owner's name. So we have a lot of that as well.
Okay,
So there's been problems in the past of not having that newsletter show up online. Because I don't get one, because we have one,
Water bill.
yeah, there's one water bill for business and me, and the business takes care of the bill and I never see it. So I go online and try to, what's this time's newsletter, and it hasn't been there. Now, things are getting better.
Yes.
Because of the
So-
Thank you. They are. We've been
So-
trying really hard.
So we need
Thank you for noticing.
We
Yeah.
need to teach people that,
Right.
Uh-huh.
that now it's there, because after you look several times, you quit looking.
Right.
So that's getting the word out too.
okay,
It is getting better. We have
all
a
right.
good person working on
I
it.
thought there were more
I've
than
noticed.
just a few,
Thank you.
Lisa, after our conversation, so, okay.
So I am going to skip over the survey results because we're going to cover that on December 10th. And then I just included the Imagine Millwood info in there. And then the highlighted items, I still have to schedule next month. I will be starting stakeholder interviews. Those need to be completed. I'm going to include more information about Millwood Park Reimagined. I ran out of time. So I just put add summary in the draft in there. And then as we go through the plan and everything too, if something really stands out that we need updated in that master plan, I did ask Deb if she could put a little bit in the budget so that I could re-contract with SPVV to update that reimagine Millwood Park to become more of a usable master plan based on our current feedback.
Yeah, it was not quite finished.
Yeah, and I'm in close working relationship with them, and so they've already, like, they tweaked the picture for us for no cost, that kind of stuff. And so they'll be really amicable to doing that. And based on that, I listed all the features that were included in the Millwood, Reimagine Millwood Park. And I shouldn't say normally, on the last project I worked on, it was boom, super clear, 1 to 10. You knew exactly how everything ranked. For Millwood, 1 to 2 was super clear. The rest were like this, all the way across, that it would have almost been a judgment call for me to try and rank them. So I literally put it as such. That number 1 is new playground, ADA compliant. Number 2, wading pool or splash pad, ADA compliant. And then all the other ones. So.
Yeah.
And then demand and need analysis, I have to do the introduction in there. I have to add a priority chart, which is something new that I'm doing.
I kind of, well, I'm amazed by your optimism that we can.
And
that
yeah,
this-
we'll get
this-
to that one.
This is not really
Yeah.
what has been talked about.
Correct. So this was part of the inventory, so that'll be my next one. What the priority chart is, and I started it on my last project, I basically go through and I put what the project is. So let's say Millwood Park renovation, okay? How it's justified based on the mission, goals, objectives, based on the community feedback from the survey, based on stakeholder interviews, and then based on the inventory and assessment need. So I call that our priority chart. And that way, when we're going for application with RCO and say we want to apply for Millwood Park, you can look at the Millwood Park project and boom, 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 right across the board, it shows where the need is justified. So it's like a cross-reference chart, so you're not hunting and pecking through the entire comp plan. And then into the exciting part. So what I did, because I'd already seen the survey, and river access came out number one as the need. So I was bound and determined to figure out where, if any, you could actually connect to the Centennial Trail from Millwood. The map I did on here is legitimately the only location that even has a potential where the trail dips down within the city boundary.
Does it have
Area.
to be within the city boundary?
Well, everybody was saying from Millwood.
Well, yeah, you go from Millwood on Euclid to Lockwood Road. You go up to, which is half a mile.
Yeah.
You go up to Coyote Rock Drive.
Oh, yeah, and you can go that way and then you
go
cross.
right onto the trail.
Yeah.
It's about a little over a mile.
What I understood from the responses that I got, why I did this analysis, was they wanted it directly from Millwood, not going outside. So that's why I did this analysis, to show literally that block there is the only potential location. These are the things that would have to come into play in order to do that. Is it likely to happen? Probably not. Would the cost be substantial? You betcha. And you'd be looking at either a crossing similar to what's down at the islands crossing there, or maybe even something larger, more of a pedestrian bridge scale. But that location is the only location from within
I
Millwood.
don't think I've ever heard anybody
No, you haven't.
who was actually talking about getting to the trail directly from Millwood. They wanted the access to be easier.
Mm-hmm.
And us putting bicycle lane along Empire and trying to get Millwood Valley to put a bicycle lane along Empire. Then you go up to Coyote Drive and there's sidewalks.
Okay. So that was actually where I was going to talk to you guys about, because this wouldn't happen. This.
Right.
So what I wanted to do was add a summary on this, on what you recommended going through the road network. And so that, what you were saying, Empire to Lockwood,
Yes. Look, well,
that was the name of the street. I can't remember what it was.
this is looking at Scout. I haven't
Yes.
actually been there.
To Lockwood, but then you're into Coyote Rock, which is private streets, correct?
I don't know that it's private streets.
Okay.
There's no gates or anything.
So Empire to Lockwood into Coyote Rock, right?
Coyote Rock Drive, yeah, there's nothing there to indicate that you can't.
Okay. Coyote Rock Drive.
Clearly something we need to check on.
And then there is the pathway connection about 3/4 of the way down Coyote Rock
You
Drive.
get to about where the apartments are, and there is a really well-used path that
Okay.
goes from Coyote Drive to Centennial Trail, and it's all on Centennial Trail property. So the thing would probably be to get an official path
So
built.
pathway to Centennial Trail, so it's unimproved pathway?
Yeah.
Okay.
Where is that, Bobby? I mean, I'm thinking of Centennial Trail out to,
Well, it comes across the river
right, and then
and
it hangs a left,
hangs a left, and Coyote Rock
right, yeah, I know, we're,
coming right there.
right, yeah, it stretches from west of the bridge and then continues east, the Coyote Rock development. So, okay, I wasn't aware that as you get further down by the apartments, that there was a connection.
It's a goat
from
trail.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not aware of that one,
It's only maybe 100 feet.
okay.
So in order to utilize that, you would need pedestrian improvements from Millwood to get to there. Okay.
Right, which I think we've got in our plans.
Some.
To put
yeah.
a bicycle lane.
Yes. So we have bicycle lane in there. We don't have the pedestrian side of it yet. So I'll put a pedestrian / bike improvements.
That would be on Empire down to, what street would that be then?
Lockwood.
Lockwood. I'm gonna have to go out there. I'm
Yeah.
not familiar with that area, so, okay,
This is just a brief,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
So what I will do is a map and description for that being the more viable connection.
in addition to the up Argonne to Marengo and,
Yes,
Yeah.
which we described, yeah.
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 Okay. And and then it's just the capital improvement program. And that'll basically be the 6-year CIP for the parks itself that would be included in the capital facilities. And that's it.
Is that all?
Yep, see why we devoted a meeting all to introducing this element.
This is from scratch. There's a lot of work. Put
Yeah.
a lot of work into that. There's
Very,
no
very good
question.
presentation.
Yes.
Is this part of the city planning report?
Yes, it is.
Okay, any other questions on Amanda's presentation?
No, I'll just make the comment that I made to you earlier, that you did an amazing job on it.
Amazing
Yeah,
job.
very good.
Very good. Yeah, I agree, very much so. All right, that brings us to action items, and it looks like we don't have any.
Nope.
Perfect. Okay. So this brings us to public remarks, public comments. Is there anybody out in the audience that would like to address the planning commission? Thank you. Tina Seifert, come on up and state your name and your address.
Hi, I'm Tina Seifert, 10507 East Empire Avenue. Is this on? Okay. I just wanted to say hallelujah to this river access. You guys are doing the bomb, and this work that everybody's been going through is fantastic. Just wanted to say that. And just to kind of verify the private access down at Coyote Rock, as you're going down Lockwood, if it's to the west, is that west? Yeah. There is actually a private gate, just to let you know, but it's just for the parts that live in the west, but you can get access to the Centennial Trail Lickety Split just right on the other side by the apartments down there. I wanted to say thank you very much. You're doing an awesome job, lots of hard work, and that river access, I think, is going to be huge for the city of Millwood. So thanks again.
Great, thank you. Todd Beasy.
Todd Beasy, East 8610 East South Riverton. Thank you, Planning Commissioners, for being here tonight. And Amanda, thank you for doing a wonderful job. That's a big job. We appreciate it. A couple of things I wanted to bring up is throughout Millwood, whether it's east or west of the railroad tracks or north or south of the, east or west of Argonne or north or south of the railroad tracks, I hear people saying river access is important to them. A lot of people in Millwood have kayaks and paddleboards, and they would like to be able to launch them into the river from Millwood. Actually, a number of years ago, before COVID, there was a survey that Millwood residents only and answered it, and 27 said they don't want a pocket park there or any kind of park, and 125 said they would like a park there. And that was a number of years ago. And I hear, even currently, river access, please. At the end of Sargent, you're right on to call it a beach. Many people in Millwood call it a beach. When I'm talking to people out there, they'll call it a beach. They say, in the last few months, some high school kids have been going down there and kind of wrecking it. So the city of Millwood, hopefully, when the river comes back up, can make improvements there and such. Millwood activities, at the lodge in the winter, they're going to try it one time a month. And in the summer, they hope to go back to 4 times a month, or every Friday, and Friday nights at the lodge. And did you hear any comments in the big survey to the Millwood Farmers Market to be brought back to Dalton? I know I commented that way, and I know at least 2 or 3 other people commented that they wanted to bring the Millwood Farmers Market back to Dalton.
That would be on the last 2 questions of the survey.
Correct.
Those are the last 2 I have to summarize.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
can tell you in the entire other portion, that was not specifically referenced. There was reference to a plaza at Dalton for events, but I am literally on the last 2
Oh,
questions
okay,
for summarizing.
okay. Okay, thank you. And then as far as Millwood activities, I don't know if you want activities from the businesses there, the wine tasting on Sunday at Bottles, karaoke Friday and Wednesday night at Stockwell's, and of course the lodge. The first Thursday of every month is book club, and so there's a lot of other activities. If you check with the,
Could you email these to me?
yeah, I can do that.
That'd
Yeah.
be great. I can only write so fast, so I want to make sure I get them in there.
Okay. Are you interested in activities, nightlife activities and
Yeah.
stuff, the wine
Yeah,
tasting?
we'll just list it, make sure you list, for what the age group is and stuff, so.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Basically what I need to put on the chart.
Yeah, adult.
So if you used, Bobby's chart, and you could send me that info, I will plug it in.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Busy, and nice to see you're up and walking,
Yeah.
you know, so, kind of a couple of comments on what he said. I don't know if it's appropriate to list in this document as events, businesses by name. Stockwell's does karaoke on Tuesday nights.
Okay.
I don't know if that's appropriate in this type of a public forum, because then what's gonna happen is you're gonna want, the Millwood Market's gonna say, well, we sell beer on
a good point.
Thursdays.
Yeah, yeah.
And then, you know,
How
Safeway's
about,
gonna say, I mean, just.
What if we put,
Numerous
downtown
communities.
Millwood business community activities?
There you go,
Okay,
yeah, something like that, because I know that.
that is a
one-
very good
One of the
point.
things that we've talked about many times is if we could get Millwood to become a Perry Street district type area, or just a lot of district events like that. And then I just wanna make a comment, because it's been mentioned a couple times tonight about the survey that was taken, that 27 people opposed a park and 130 people were all for it. I think it's pretty important to remember that the 27 people that didn't want the park lived, if I remember right, within 300 feet of said property.
It was farther than 300 feet.
Okay, so 300 yards maybe. Of the 27 that didn't want the
They
park.
lived on the river.
Right, so I just remember seeing those, so I think that's important to, if we're gonna talk about the history, the 125 people that were for it didn't live within 300 feet of it. I mean, and I know that survey called that out specifically, and I'm sure there's in old meeting minutes, that survey's in there, so.
Okay.
Just, I think that's important that we keep realizing on that. Okay, let's see, let me get back to my agenda. Thank you, to Todd and Tina for speaking up, we appreciate that. That brings us to, the city planner report.
All right, so, for the city planner report, we've had a little bit of an uptick again, in, application review and processing, mostly getting some of these projects closed out. So Starbucks is, coming to an end there, and then, we've had a couple, I believe, only one on this, but adult family home zoning reviews. So as an application comes into City of Spokane Valley for an adult family home, they notify me. I double check, obviously zoning's okay because you have to allow them. But I make sure that, like if they're putting a ramp on the front of the house, is the ramp meeting the setback requirements and et cetera. And so I don't know if that had been done before. Spokane Valley reached out to me and was surprised that I wanted to look at them. But for that particular reason, it's the site plan review. Accessory dwelling units, the one way back, the variance from last year, is just about completed, I believe. Yeah. So that was just a final routing and review on it, but it's been progressing all the way along. Let's see.
Doesn't Bessie run north and south?
Mhm.
Okay.
Did I
That
say
should be
East
north.
Bessie?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's north. It should be
Typo. Council didn't catch that. And then 10423 East Trent, Hildebrand Auto has made different applications for various uses, but we're still in a code enforcement process. I'll just leave it at that, but they have been looking at different options. 8911 South Riverway, shoreline development permit exemption, North 40 finalized out. We had a detached garage review and approval on Fowler. The zoning text amendment, so that one is on a table right now by city council. I don't know if you guys are aware of that. I believe they didn't quite, I wasn't there that night, but I don't believe they quite understood that the highlighted portions were the specific portions that we were looking at. And there were comments received concerning the whole thing. And so it's tabled right now. I don't know what the status is gonna be in the future, but, am I summarizing that okay? Yes. I wasn't there, but I heard secondhand that, there was a little confusion on the highlighted as far as what we were utilizing, whereas we weren't usually utilizing the parking standards, those kinds of things.
I think they were concerned that there was a lot of stuff there that didn't apply.
Yeah.
And that was kind of,
Which it's a Band-Aid, as we had discussed,
so
yeah.
they were talking about them putting the work in to decide what the rules should be and have it only be things that would apply. So they were talking about basically writing a parking Band-Aid specifically for us.
Oh. Okay. Which then that would have to start over through the process again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
make sure they know that. Okay. And then, just miscellaneous stuff there. Periodic update. You guys are probably pretty much all aware of this. We had the, city council presentation that I did with you guys last time. Survey obviously was completed. Let's see, did all that. Local project, there is new information that I actually don't have on here, but I'm gonna tell you anyway. Just came out another housing guidance document. So as I said, things are continuously evolving. And so the latest guidance did make it clear, as a tier 3 city, we are required to have 2 units per lot. Because ADUs, new guidance or new statutes requires 2 ADUs. Millwood can elect to either put a 2 unit per lot maximum. That means it'd be a unit, an ADU, or a duplex, or whatever it is. Or you can take ADUs out of the equation and you can say a 3 unit maximum. So those will be a discussion that we'll want to have as we go forward, but it is clear guidance now for tier 3s. The other part is there's some additional guidance on, I'm trying to remember what it was, shoot. There was another question that was on the housing, I don't remember what it was now, but they have an updated guidebook, and so I'll be going through that. It literally just came out.
One quick question on that. So because we're tier 3, you said they're in the 2 units will be required per lot. Lot size,
Does not matter. It can be, I believe it goes down all the way, they said, to 1,000 square feet, essentially, so that's why I say does not matter. So if it's 1,000 square feet or if it's 10,000 square feet, it's 2 units
2 units.
per lot.
Wow.
Yeah, but I will caveat that, having completed the land capacity analysis, we have to look hard. We are not gonna be able to accommodate all the units we need to with our current lot coverage, lot size, those kinds of things. So we'll touch on more of this in December, but we're gonna have to look hard.
Now, when you say are required, we're required to allow. right?
Required to allow, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all we can do, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
There's a difference
That
there.
is something different.
yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. Thank-
And then that ends off with the land capacity analysis report. So you'll see that in December, and then just lots of meetings on PTAC and everything. So,
Any questions for Amanda?
Yeah, I have a question. On the shoreline development permit exemption.
Mhm.
Can you real briefly describe what the nature of that is?
I knew you were gonna ask that, and I didn't put a note on there, did I, on that one? Number 3. Was number 3 the
I can give
tree?
you, I can give you an update on that, because
I think that was the tree, the vegetation management.
No, I think.
Was that the retaining wall
they-
repair?
They have a retaining wall
Okay.
that's been there,
I think.
Was it?
Carol got
it's
it.
been there for many, many years, made
Oh,
out
no,
of
that's not
rocks
this one.
and
That's not that one?
cement, and it's starting to deteriorate.
Oh, that's a different
That's-
one.
that's a different one.
That's a different one.
Well, that's.
That's
a
gonna be
diff-
number 4.
Oh,
That's a different one.
sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't know that one, Bill.
This is number 3, this was vegetation management.
Oh,
Here, I can tell you right now.
But you have a pending application for a retaining wall?
That's a different one.
Yeah, so this one's actually been issued now. We've begun discussions and we're waiting for an application to come in on the retaining wall one. But that'll be our second retaining wall repair.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
repair.
So 2 vegetation managements this year, and there will be 2, so 4 total for the year, unless another one comes in December that I'm not aware of yet.
So what, here's the
Yeah, I
file.
know,
Which-
it's
Sorry about
vegetation
that. I
management.
thought
Oh,
it was
3.
the other one that's retaining wall
Down,
repair,
down,
so.
right.
This one?
There,
It's easy to get them mixed up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Any other
Oh, the
questions
tree
for
one.
Amanda?
Okay, tree, yeah. Gotcha.
Thank you for that report, appreciate it. Commissioner comments, Commissioner Rickard,
No comment.
Commissioner Beasy,
See us marching along with our project here.
We are still on track.
This was huge. I appreciate your your flexibility and willingness to take input from us and the public and refine things and make it the best it can be.
Commissioner Malt,
I've asked all my questions and I agree with Bobby and I compliment you on a great job putting this together.
I want to just echo everything else that they've said, so, good job. So the next meeting, the normal meeting is December 25th, that has been canceled. We have a special meeting on December 10th at 5 PM, a joint meeting with the city council. My question on that is there going to be the ability to join that meeting via Zoom or Microsoft Teams? Okay, because I will have to attend that way.
Okay.
I'll have to attend remotely. So, anticipated meeting agenda items for that meeting?
Yes, we will be doing, I'll be doing a summary presentation on the, committee survey results and the land capacity analysis.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Okay, so just a reminder, to remind us all of something that we agreed to at last meeting was to, take a look at last month's packet and do the homework and check it and to be ready to have, our input to Amanda at our normally scheduled January meeting.
And sooner would be even better, but.
But that was the timeframe that we were given. Other than that, my last comment's gonna be, hopefully everybody has a safe and happy Thanksgiving. And with that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I move that we adjourn.
And I'll second that.
Okay, no further comment, because I'm not gonna allow it. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, meeting adjourned, thank you.
We made it under 2 hours.
Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you. We did.